back. What's good?
What's up? What's up? What's up? Friday. That's what's good. We are in Friday. We're making it through the week. Thanksgiving is coming up. We are Dianoia. This is stirring it up. How's your week been going? Everything?
It's good, man. Just been dropping stuff on the gaming channel. If you guys
Awesome.
like games and stuff, check out Night City Vibes on YouTube. Been posting a lot of the Call of Duty stuff right now because it's crazy. And then
Doing all the zombie
the,
stuff. All the zombies.
yeah, all the zombie stuff. And then also, if you're in the Cyberpunk 2077 essays, I got a bunch of those on there. And I'm about to drop the next essay probably later this afternoon or tomorrow. And yeah, that's it. And then we've been watching TV shows like Silo and Dune. We're gonna discuss that on the show today. There's also a discussion about Drake and his new video on No Face, and I got some shit to say about that as well.
Okay.
And
Okay.
we got some Google stuff on the thing that the Kenny's want to talk about.
hmm
And oh, we gotta talk about that Mike Tyson fight, bro. That
that's at
shit.
the top.
And we're
That's
gonna
at
just
the
gonna
top.
start with that now, man. Just go right
All right.
into the
So,
Mike Tyson fight,
what are your thoughts? What are you just off the rip? What are your thoughts?
bro. It was a pitiful display. Tyson looked old. His legs looked weary, and this was a money. This is a bad grab. Honestly, I thought Mike Tyson. I hoped Mike Tyson would look better than he was, but that was pitiful. His legs like an old man. I've seen he's 58.
Mhm.
My dad could probably still outrun me in the 50s. Mike Tyson
Okay.
ain't outrunning me. So I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with that guy. Like when they said he almost died, he might have almost died. He should have never been in that ring.
I didn't watch the fight. I just caught a bunch of the clips, highlights. I seen people reaction on Twitter/X and everything. Um, I think Mike Tyson looked good for his age, and I think he
His
was
upper body
performing
did,
well.
his lower body didn't. Those
Well, yeah,
legs did not look ready.
well, he did have a knee injury, and I don't know if Mike Tyson ever was the real person that really trains for the lower body shit. I mean, other than running for cardio, I've never really known Mike Tyson in any of the previous trainings or anything that really focused on lower body. But for upper body, punching, doing his boxing shit, that looked good. Uh, the thing with the overall fight to me though is like it's an exhibition match. I get it for the money, and I get that people want to see Jake Paul get knocked out. They want to see Jake Paul get knocked out by Mike Tyson, and they want to see Mike Tyson fight to see if he still got it. I, it was just something like if you wanted to see because you was really into it, I understand why you would watch it. But me, I'm like, I just wanted to catch the clips. I heard they made a nice, pretty penny from it. I heard that the girls fought, and I haven't seen any of the clips of the
Oh,
girl
the
fight.
girls' fight was vicious. I would say gory. Could you call something gory? Could you call boxing gory? It was
Yeah, you can
gory.
call it.
She had an avulsion on her forehead, or right
Mhm.
above her eye. Because these girls are like, they go in real close because one's a left-handed puncher, one's a right-handed puncher. So they kept it real close to each other and they bumped heads throughout the fight. And she ended up getting a avulsion. This was her second fight against this woman, and she lost both of them. And people were like, she got robbed and whatnot. I watched her. I don't think she got robbed. I just think that she's gonna have to come up with a different technique if she wants to be effective in her next fights. Because the way that she's engaging with this girl, when you look bloody,
Mhm.
right? If you're all bloody, it's hard to say you won that fight. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
so
because you look
sorry to
like you got
say.
beat up.
You
That's the
like you
problem.
got
You
your
look like you got
ass
beat up.
kicked. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If your eyes all blacked over, of course you're expecting the judges to be objective and understanding, but that's just not how human nature works. And girl, you look like you got your ass kicked. It's
Yeah,
hard to say you want to fight.
So another thing with the fight too, another significant thing that came out just recently was the fact that everybody on that fight got basically medically suspended. So
Really?
none of them. Yeah. So the Texas Department of Licensing Regulation, they put Mike Tyson and Jake Paul both suspended for 24 days. Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor were suspended for 45 days. The suspensions are mandatory minimums, suspensions, medical suspensions after a fight. The thing that was kind of interesting to me is because this was not a fully regulated by the the full blown
But it was
boxing commission.
sanctioned
Yeah,
by the Boxing Association. So because they sanctioned it, they were able
Mhm.
uh, to institute and of course the females definitely 45 days. Mike Tyson could have had 5 days. It was not a fight. He got his
They gave it
ass
to him
kicked.
for.
He should
And
have a he should be suspended for life. Honestly, for his health. Dude, I don't know how you say you thought Mike Tyson looked good. Mike Tyson was shaky. He was shaky when he was walking down to the fight. His legs look.
I don't know you
Man,
been
the
shaking
whole
walking down
fight,
to the
Roy
fight,
Jones
but
Jr. kept saying, "I do not like his legs. I do not like his legs. I
well,
do
that's the
not like
different
his legs."
thing.
Mike Tyson should have got knocked out. The only reason he didn't get knocked out is because Jake Paul was a friend. He did not
Well,
want to knock
also I think
Tyson out.
too,
He should have.
because a lot of the clips that I saw where Mike Tyson didn't do like his little signature thing where he gets in close, head down, hits that uppercut, and then hits the body. He didn't, and but I heard, and I haven't seen this officially, that they were a lot of tweaks to things they couldn't do in the actual fight in the clause of their actual contract too. So a
I
lot of people
don't
kind of
know
upset
if
about
that was true. I'll tell you this. There was a
that. Okay.
moment when Mike Tyson's sitting down on his stool and he
Mhm.
didn't want to get up.
Oh, for real.
Yeah, oh, that shit shook the shit out of America. When people saw that, bro, it was painful. Like he looked like he gave up. Like he looked like he never wanted to fight again. Like
But
I
that was
almost thought he
crazy
was
because
crying. He almost
was the
looked like he
win
was
part
crying. Go on YouTube and Google Mike Tyson doesn't want to get up in the Jake Paul
right?
fight.
Yeah.
It's
But one
it's
of the
it's
funny things at
depressing,
the end of
dude.
it was the fact that I guess when he got interviewed, they asked him would he want to do this again, and Mike Tyson said yes, though. So I mean,
Yeah, of course he's
I
gonna
don't
say
know.
yes. Cause he got paid $20 million. Like,
So
of
you think
course he
he'll say
said
yes to the fight?
yes.
Well, he'll say yes to the fight, but not necessarily for the money,
No,
or
he'll say
no
yes
to
to the fight because he
and
got
for the
paid
money.
twenty
He'll have
million
to have the money
dollars.
behind it.
But you know what though? I'll say this: Mike Tyson doesn't care about his legacy, but people care about his legacy, and this
Mm.
fucked his leg. I said this was going to be like this. Look, like you said last week, there was no win-win. Jake Paul knocks Mike Tyson out. He's knocking out an old man. And what's true?
Mhm.
People are like Jake Paul. His next fight's gonna be against Joe Biden. You know what I'm saying?
I've seen that somewhere too. So yeah, that should be crazy. But yeah, so
And for real talk, like the boxers are out there like, come fight me. Like real heavyweight champions are like, yo, come fight me. Come fight me. And then you know what I'm
that would
saying,
make
Jay
sense.
Paul, go ahead.
No, I was saying that would make sense if Jake Paul is actually trying to be a legitimate boxer, not these exhibition matches or not these, publicity matches, then
Yeah.
yes, go fight a real current up to speed in their weight class boxer as soon as possible. As soon as your
Oh,
suspension is
absolutely.
over.
Tomorrow morning, you should be in the ring looking for that guy. You should be like, give me the greatest Russian boxer right now and bring him to America.
Russian
We're gonna do
boxer.
Rocky.
You're gonna do
And
Rocky.
then
Okay.
make it like that. Make it Rocky Balboa versus the monster of Russia, and people will pay way more money to see that than to what they watched on Netflix. And there's a class action lawsuit right now against Netflix, which is so fucking dumb because they had like, uh, okay, they had what do you want to say? It was laggy, had
Yeah.
connection issues, the
Yeah.
servers were overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, this happens during the Super Bowl. There are times that you're at a place to watch the Super Bowl, and all of a sudden it becomes laggy. Sometimes it cuts
Well,
out because there's millions of people watching it.
no, well, you got to think though, because Netflix is computer based, so it's a server. When on Super Bowl, you just watch it over the air broadcast television. But I understand.
Yeah,
But
but
I
when you're
guess
at
it's a good
like,
point for
but
them.
for those who are watching it on
The
cable,
internet.
it's not over the air broadcast. And so sometimes you'll see it become laggy on certain, cable networks because everybody's getting on. Nobody has a class action lawsuit for that. There's literally
That's
a class action. It's probably gonna get thrown out though because it's bullshit.
I don't know. For Netflix's stance, I guess it's good for them because it shows that they can pull these things off and they will be people that want to see it. I just got to boost up their servers. But yeah, I think it's a new thing for them to come through and show that we can produce a live action thing, even on our platform, which is known for just streaming movies, basically. I mean, you really think about it because we even talked about this last week. How Netflix is kind of doing this interesting. They got the games on there now.
Yeah, they got
They're doing.
Sunday night football or Monday night
Yep.
football.
Wait, do they have football?
They
I
have
don't know if they have
NFL
football on it
football
right
on
now.
there now.
I know like Amazon Prime has football, Thursday night football on there,
So
but
is
no, I can
Netflix.
see Netflix branching out into doing more of this stuff. So think about where Netflix came from where you used to be able to order a movie
A
on
disc.
CD and keep it for a while, and then you return it to now it's completely
Now it's
platform
going
streaming,
towards
and let
live
alone
TV.
yeah. So it's just a crazy thing. But hey, shout out to Mike Tyson. I wish he would have cared more about his legacy. It does tarnish it, but if he's a person that's just like I don't care no more, then let him do what he wants to do. He made a decent bag,
I mean,
so
there's
be
a
it.
video of him talking to like a 14-year-old woman, a 14-year-old girl who's is a effective journalist, and he's telling her like she asked him about his legacy, and he straight up said, "I don't give a fuck about my legacy. Like no one, when I'm dead and gone, no one's gonna talk about me." Balls. What are
Oh,
you
yeah, that's
talking
fine.
about? Like
They
some of
will
the
still talk
greatest
about him.
boxers that ever lived, they still talk about him. Muhammad Ali has been dead for a minute, and people still talk about him like he's sitting at home right now. Like for the world who don't know you, you never really died. Like Michael
Yeah,
Jackson died, but there are kids listening to Michael Jackson who have no concept of death of him because he's the music they listen to. You don't
yeah.
die. Your legacy doesn't die.
But I guess if we're talking about the legacy part, is there's a part that I kind of understand. Like if you've already lived your life and enjoyed whatever you wanted to, in my death, I'm like, okay, however y'all
But
want to
there's a
remember, that's
difference
how y'all
between
remember
saying
me.
I don't care about my legacy
Yeah.
and that my legacy doesn't matter. And he's saying his legacy don't matter, and that's bullshit.
Well,
Because Mike
well,
Tyson, you were the youngest pound for pound, undisputed world champion of the world. They ain't never been another one. There might never be another one like you ever.
but you got to think how he might see it, though. I mean,
No, no, I'm
as
saying
a person that revered Mike Tyson, I can understand being like, man, you done fucked up your legacy record. But then again,
mm,
I'm also like, well, I can stop it right before you were finishing your last thing and not count this as a real thing that you did.
mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't know. I think people still revere Mike Tyson in a certain way. This would just be one weird little
Oh, they
smear on his
will.
capitalism.
But remember what I said before, though. Like I don't look at Michael Jordan as the champion that some people might look at him as. I look
Mhm.
at him the dude that stayed around too long. I look at him. I look at him as a dude who was selfish. I look at him as a dude who thought he was better than younger players when they were crossing his ass over when he was wearing 45. Like to other people, they remember Jordan as the last championship in Chicago. That's
Yeah,
not the
that's how
guy I think about.
my memory is the same way. Like I know Jordan came back playing 40, wearing the 45, playing for the Wizards, Washington Wizards, and stuff. But I'm like, yeah, I don't really count that as the legacy of the way I see Jordan as. But I can understand if you count that whole thing. Yeah, it kind of looks like, man, you should have just stopped when you was on top and keep it rolling. But
Yeah, or if you're going to keep playing, you got to keep your team around. You know what I'm saying? The fact that the whole Chicago team blew up, that's, you have, like, okay, put it like this. Would that have happened with LeBron? LeBron keeps his teams together as much as he can, even when it's not a good idea. He
yeah,
keeps his teams together. Even when they're like, yo, you should trade fucking this guy. He ain't the man. And LeBron's like, fuck it. We gonna ride together or we gonna die
but
together.
yeah, but
That's
I
it.
don't revere LeBron the same way because I'm a person that holds that thing against LeBron where you have to run to go chase to build a certain
No,
team around you to get your
he
first
went
ring
and
up.
made his own money. He was like, yo, I don't need it. Look, if you that's like saying he should have stayed with Miami and they would have 10 championships right now. That's probably true. But he was like, I'm gonna go do something else. I want to play on different teams. I want to go to LA. And he did it.
But
Look, that dude
catching it
got
that way is when
he got 5 championships.
Yeah,
Jordan
but
got 6.
remember,
How do you not revere him the same way?
because he didn't stick with the same team, and that's the
So
whole thing that
what?
I've always had against LeBron and the new era. I
It's
get the
not
new
like,
era way people
all
do
right,
it,
hold up.
but I
Let's be
don't
real.
agree with it.
He's not he's not Golden State. He does not go put super teams together. They still would go to a team and he'd be the best player. And you can't
Mhm.
name 2 other players and he'll win a championship. He did that routinely. On Chicago, everybody was a champion. I mean, Rodman,
Yeah, but
Kukos,
that's when you have
Jordan.
a team and you do a three-peat. That's what I'm trying to
No,
say.
but
Like
that's
LeBron
that's
can't hit that
fine. You
three-peat
can do that
anyway.
with one team. But that's not his job to stay on one team. He's not that's not his
But
job to do that.
that plays into the thing of that whole team loyalty. Your jersey
Oh,
gets
get out of
retired
here
for
with
the
that
team you played
bullshit.
for.
I mean,
That's how I feel.
I can see where you feel that way, and there's a lot of people who may feel that way. But also, then if that's also true, then Jordan's legacy of staying around too much should count too, right?
Yeah.
All
No, and
right,
I
then
said
so
I
then he's
agree with you
shit.
on that. Yeah, I agree
He
with you
ain't
that
the greatest
Jordan stayed around a
ever
little too long.
because he couldn't do it on a different team. LeBron did it on 3 different teams. I just
All
wanted to
right,
say
well,
it. LeBron did it on 3 different teams. Jordan couldn't do it on. Jordan's the greatest ever, but he couldn't go to another team and win a championship. Get the fuck out of here. No, he ain't. He ain't the
because
greatest
when you
ever.
know your team, you know your
LeBron's the
team.
greatest
And I
ever.
guess there's a thing that between the splitting of it is it do you honor the individual superiority of the individual player, or do you honor the superiority of the actual team
No,
as a whole?
it's not the superiority of the player. LeBron proved that he could play anywhere and win a championship because he
Mhm.
did it 3 times. He did
Okay,
it in
but then he
Cleveland.
also
He did
did
it
not
twice in
stay with the same
Miami,
team
and he did
and
it
do it
once in.
three
And
times.
you said what?
But he didn't stay with the same team and
So
do it three
what?
times.
So
So that's what
what?
I compare him to. I'm like, no, I never say LeBron is not a bad, horrible player or
All
anything,
right. Should he
and
stayed
he
in
is in the
Cleveland?
upper
Hell
echelon, but
no.
he has
Should
not
he have
did that
stayed in
one thing that.
Miami? Maybe. He
No,
should
to
have
me, he
never
should have
stayed
stayed
in
with
Cleveland.
Cleveland.
He
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 should,
won a
to me,
championship in Cleveland.
if he's the child of Akron, he's from Ohio. He should have stayed with
Nah,
Cleveland. He should
bullshit.
have rocked.
Fuck that. Ohio. Fuck Ohio. I'm a Buckeye fan. I'm gonna tell you right now. That's bullshit. Cleveland didn't build a team around him. Look, Brian won a championship in defiance of statistics and facts. He beat Golden State in Cleveland with the
Mhm.
worst team ever.
Then he
That
should have
makes
been
you
able
the
to do it again
greatest
and again and
motherfucking
again.
player ever. And he came back from 3 down. Dog, he came back in Cleveland. Name one other player on that Cleveland team.
That was the dude, the white dude with the red hair.
You don't know his name exactly. No one
I
gives a
can't
fuck
remember.
about
I
him.
don't be
There
knowing
was
sports
this.
players
There
like
was
this no more.
you don't have to because everybody you don't you look you may not follow basketball, but you knew every single person on Chicago because every single one of those guys were stars.
Well, that
B.J.
was like I
Armstrong,
used to
a
know the name
star.
I used to be able
Kukos,
to name the start five
Longley,
of almost every NBA team. I can't do that
yeah,
anymore.
but okay, but you could not do that with Chicago. I mean, with Cleveland. There was there was LeBron, and
I just remember them as Cameron
exactly
dude
my
that passed
point.
the ball the wrong way. I don't know. All right, but let's move on. Move on. This Drake thing. What is your take on this Drake thing?
All right, so I have they're calling it no views. Here's my opinion. What happened to Drake should have been impossible, because there were 2 types of people who thought about Drake. Those who didn't give a fuck about him, didn't hate him, but just didn't really give a fuck about Drake. And then those who absolutely loved him.
Hmm.
Right? Now, how do you take he's an absolute star lyrically? He should never been able to be canceled, right? It should have been impossible. Like Nas and Jay-Z. Everybody knows that Nas won that battle, but he didn't cancel Jay-Z. Jay-Z stayed Jay-Z because they both were lyrical gods. And so they both what happened was is Jay-Z knew he couldn't Jay-Z wanted to destroy Nas. Nas said you can't destroy me. That's what Ether was. Ether wasn't about destroying Jay-Z. It was you can't cancel me, motherfucker. I'm the greatest ever. Motherfucker, I'm the greatest ever. And he's proving it. Nas drops albums, and that motherfucker sound better now than he did then. That motherfucker can't be canceled, right?
Okay,
So
so
Drake, who's a lyrical god, who can write, maybe, maybe, but definitely has a style that shouldn't be able to be canceled. And the people who loved him don't give a fuck about him no more. Of course, you got your academics who are glazers, and they're all over his dick, just smack it in their face. That's fine. That's fine. You can be that glazing kind of guy. You can be that. That's dude. I am not hating on you, but for the most part, nobody gives a damn about Drake anymore. Like I never really liked him in the first place, right? But I really don't care about him now. And
mhm.
that should be impossible with an artist who makes so much money. And you know what he should do? He need to pull a Kanye West. When after Kanye West did what he did to Taylor Swift, he came out with a beautiful dark fantasy. Was the most intimate, honest album probably ever from an artist. Right? I don't know if there's ever been an artist who dropped an album after a controversy like that, who then changed with one album, changed people's minds. Like, okay, yeah, you are the greatest of all time. Even if you are flawed and you got these issues, Drake, this motherfucker just, I listened to the song, it's like a minute and 30 seconds long, and he just being arrogant, like, I got this, I got the numbers. Shut the fuck up, Drake. No one cares about your numbers, nigga. Nobody cares. You ain't shit because you ain't shit. You ain't shit because you are really not shit. Yeah, numbers lie, but people's feelings don't. And people don't love you no more. And like LL said, you got to make them love you again. And being like bombastic, like, oh, I made you hot, no one cares. I was on the song that blew you up, no one cares. I listened to the lyrics and was like, Drake, you dumb. And then plays no face, no face. That shit was so lame. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit, man.
No, I look at it like I think Drake should have laid low for a little while longer.
Yes.
I don't think he should have popped up with any music, any type
Nope.
of, especially nothing close to like a diss or anything. If he wanted to come out with music, it should have been some just regular, club pop or
Not
however
even
go
that.
music.
You
It
know what he
shouldn't
should have
still be
done?
targeted.
A
What?
million features. A million
Well,
features.
no, because you got to find people that want to still get you on the feature, and Drake is kind of a sticky
Well,
situation
no.
right
What you
now.
do is, what you got, he got people he close to. Young Thug about to drop an album, right?
Yeah,
You a feature on that. And the ATL guys, you dropped a milli on your boy Young Thug, so
but
you
this is the
can be
problem.
on
Hold on.
every single
Remember,
person's. Go ahead.
Remember the key diss that Kendrick hit him with. Anytime you are down, you run to Atlanta. And he named all the Atlanta artists. So Young Thug kicking it with Drake will look kind of weird now.
Hey,
Kendrick solidified that. He said, no, every time you in this little weird situation, you run to an Atlanta rapper, and that's how you get right back on and popping. So he can't really run to Young Thug. Young Thug is
yeah,
pure Atlanta.
you're right.
So Kendrick, look, he put that nail in that coffin. So unless Drake find, which he has a great ear for, unless he finds up and coming artists that want to work with him or have him give them the Drake stimulus package, which
That's gonna
looks
be
kind of weird
hard.
now. You may not
Yeah,
want that stimulus package.
they don't.
they Drake is unfortunately put in this weird box right now where if he just accepts the fact that he lost, he can go on and do his other type of music that he probably wants to do. But him doing his great thing is finding a new and upcoming artist and adapting to their sound and making it blow. I think he's going to have a hard time doing that. With the part of the no views, when he dropped that 100 gigs thing, which is kind of an interesting thing to do. Like all of a sudden you're just going to put all this content of you just because you lost. But one of his songs, Circadian Rhythm, which is an extremely short song, as of August 30th, it had 5,288,639 views.
That's not bad.
That's a lot.
That is not
But that
bad
came off of that
for a
100
song
gig
that you
shit.
dropped yourself on some website.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing too. And me and you were talking before the show how the 100 gigs and that one thing is dropped very differently. And that gentleman made the I guess it was a gentleman that made a comment about how this is them actually still trying to test the waters, not to connect it directly to his name to see how the response is. And yes, that one has the no face has a very limited views. It was only in 300K or something like that.
Yeah, but see, I don't. How
And
many days has it been
For a
since it came
Drake
out?
song, especially a semi response to the beef that's going on, only have 300
All right,
something
you're right.
views.
You're right. You're right. That's not
That is
enough.
crazy. That
On
is
YouTube
crazy.
too. Everybody's on
Mhm.
YouTube. You're right. It doesn't have enough views. I mean, I don't know what it has right now. It had 300,000. It had 300K yesterday. So
All right.
I
So, but yeah, that's for a artist of Drake's magnitude in comparison to this other weird song, Circadian Rhythm, which has 5 million, 5.2 million. That is a horrible thing. So I don't know. I think he should just I think he should still make music, but he should just accept the fact that right now, up until after the Super Bowl shit, probably after the Grammys, he is not going to be in any position to really beat his chest about anything.
right, he ain't in a position at all to beat his chest because what's happening to him should be impossible. So what's happening to you is a consorted fallout with your fans. Your fans are saying fuck you.
Well, he
See,
let him down. He let him down.
I don't know if he let him down. I don't think he was doing anything to really keep his fans around. I mean, for my opinion was Drake fell off way before Kendrick hit him up. Now you would talk about numbers, but in our old show, I used to say Drake fell off. Like Drake fell off. But you were like, oh, he still get the numbers, he still get the sales. But those are lies, like numbers and stuff like that. Those people listening to
Well,
you passively. But those who really love you, that is a different thing that can't be measured. Like true love for who you are as an artist, it's hard to measure with numbers. It's
yeah,
just
I would
hard.
agree. I would agree. I just
You
think
know,
he should
you
just.
can't find it in a graph. It's something that's innate to the people. And so that means that regardless of what's, even if you're not dropping music, people still love you. Look, this is crazy. So I was talking about the Maxwell concert, right? So I went to the
Mhm.
Maxwell concert, and this is what happened. He said, "Where my '60s babies at?" People screamed. He said, "Where my '70s babies at?" People screamed. He said, "Where my '80s babies at?" People screamed a little louder. He said, "Where my '90s babies at?" And it got a little bit louder. He said, "All right, where my 2000s babies at?" The place went crazy. I said, "What the fuck?" And he
I would find
stopped.
that
He
interesting.
stopped the show and it was like, "That's crazy." He's like, "That's
Okay.
crazy." He's like, "When you
Yeah,
had
because I
told me
wouldn't
when I dropped my
imagine.
first album in the '90s that I would be here in 2024 and I would say where my 2000 babies at and the place would go crazy in San Diego at a stadium, I would be like, that's impossible. That's not possible.
Well, I would find that quite interesting that somebody born in the 2000s, 24 years old, still bumping and loving the death out of Maxwell. I would find that kind of interesting too, to be honest with
Yeah, he was like, he's like, how often can you find that? He's like, man, I'm so blessed because look at this. This is not. There's not many artists out there that can walk out there and say where the 2000 babies at and hear it louder for them at that moment. Then they say where the 80 babies at? Where the 80 babies? Your moms and dads are right here.
you. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. All right. So final statements on Drake. What if you can give him a one part little brief? What
he
would you tell him
got
is his best move?
he's got to be human again. You know what they say was wrong with Kanye? What Gates' problem is right now is Drake's problem right now. Too much of that ego and
Hmm.
not enough of the humanity. And so
Okay.
he's all
Okay.
ego. I don't give a fuck about your ego, son. Fuck you. I got an
Oh,
ego.
I
It's
want to
hard
add
for
this
me to
in.
handle my ego. What the fuck I gotta deal with your ego? Fuck you, Drake. I don't want to hear your ego. I don't
I
want to
will.
hear bullshit about how many numbers you do. Nigga, you need to go in there and you need to go back to your humanity if there's any left. And you gotta be real about who you are as a human and drop an album that is true to that, authentic. You know what it is? Drake ain't authentic no more. Maybe he
Okay.
was never authentic. Now, Kanye West was always authentic and ego. The
Yeah,
problem
I would
is
agree.
that his later albums were just more ego and less authentic. But Kanye West was always an authentic ego dude, right? So when he said things that was crazy, he was following up with the human part and putting them together, showing how fragile he was. This motherfucker right here acting like he's Superman. No, you ain't no Superman. I saw you get mad because a dude that you were cool with, that you were part of the basketball team, you eye him like a bitch. Get the fuck out of here. You ain't hard. You ain't gonna say shit to him. So why you
Yeah,
gonna
that was
mean mug him out
last
of the
name
game? Man,
Clark.
that you know who does that shit? Girls. Girls do that shit. Get the fuck out of here, Drake. You gotta go figure out who the fuck you are, son. You soft as candy rain.
All right. My little statement that I would make to Drake is, Drake, if you want to make music, make music. Leave the beef alone. I mean, I would not drift into the hard response tracks. I wouldn't just make good music, make club music. Just do that. But if you want to maintain your shine in the light, just continue to make the music. Just leave the focus of all that stuff alone. Don't go on your what they've been calling it now, the Drake Petty Revenge Tour or some shit. Don't go on that. Just make your music. That's it.
Yeah, I mean
All right.
that's getting he on that petty tour, and that petty tour making him look
Make him look like a bitch. I'm
so
gonna be for real.
soft.
Him being on this petty tour makes him look like a bitch. It's
Yeah,
doing like,
it does.
man, just suck it up. You lost. Keep it pushing.
Absolutely. So I watched Dune and Silo, and both of these shows you should say one thing: show, don't tell. Two,
Okay.
either tell the story from the beginning or tell it from the point where it should have been told for. So, for instance, with Dune, the show
Mhm.
opens up with exposition. Why are we still doing this in 2024? We don't need exposition dumps. We don't. Tell the story from the moment where something important is happening. Kid, you said it best when we were talking about earlier, The Walking Dead. When you
Mhm.
said how it started. How did it start? It starts inside the hospital waking
Yep.
up and the world is fucked. That got me. Look, I don't know who told me to watch that show. I don't know if it was you or I don't know if it was Mike. But one of y'all told me, hey, you should watch The Walking Dead. And I clicked on it. No, it was you. You told me about The
I'm a big
Walking
Walking
Dead.
Dead fan. Yeah.
Yeah, you told me about The Walking Dead, and the first season was on Netflix. I binged that shit. When I was done binging it, I hit Mike up and said, "Hey, you should watch The Walking Dead." He watched the first episode, and then I didn't hear from him again. And then the very next day, I hit him up. It was like a Saturday. I'm like, "Hey, man, let's go to the movie." He's like, "Oh man, I'm sleepy, dude." He said, "I binged that shit all night long. I ain't go sleep until like 4 this morning." That's how
Mhm.
you know you do good work because he started it in a place where it makes sense.
Yeah.
Dune should have started at the moment where that worm ate that guy. I don't need to hear no bullshit. I don't need to see these ladies. You know, I know it's about the sisterhood, but I don't need to get an exposition dump about the sisterhood. I've seen the movies. You ain't got to bring me up to what they do, but make it interesting. Exposition up, pointless. Now,
Mhm.
Silo, you take Silo and you say what you said about Silo, because I thought it was a really good point.
Oh, because all right. So as y'all know, we did Silo season one, and we used to do episode breakdowns of the whole season. It was ups and downs, but one thing we took away from season one is we hate, well, I particularly hate all these excessive flashbacks. So I will let you rock with season one having all these flashbacks because you're giving me the character of Juliet. You let me know why she thinks the way she thinks, how she
Mm-hmm.
grew up, how she operates, and you're bouncing back and forth between, oh, well, this is, she went through this experience with her brother dying. She went through this experience with her mother dying. She,
Mm-hmm.
ran away, met that lady that never comes out of her apartment, went down to, what was it, machinery, did all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. All right, cool. Season one, I will accept that as that was part of building who this character is going to be for me. Now, starting with season two. I did not make it through the whole episode of season one, or season two, episode one,
Hmm.
because you already threw me off. Because like, why am I seeing the what? All right, cool. Something happened in another silo. I don't care. What is Juliet doing?
Yeah,
Or
exactly. I
let it go
agree.
forward with something happened. She discovers that this is going on, and then she, as if we are in real time of her
Uh
doing this, piecing together what exactly happened. You don't have to tell me that this is the story of what happened to these people. Just have her put it together, because then I'm still intrigued and engaged in what's happening because I'm seeing her do it. Like I'm there too. So them starting with a flashback of something completely different just to give me the gist of why is all these bodies here when she could have just discovered that, it's already had put me off. Then going through it, she's in the silo, she's
hmm.
trying to survive, get her stuff together, get her whereabouts together. It's cool, but then it's like you gave me a flashback of all this just to show me why she's seen this when this episode could have been her survival and piecing together herself what exactly happened instead of
It's
just
such a good
running
point.
around and searching for nothing overall, just silence, or as you described it, what did you call it?
Sheet metal.
Yeah. So give me your take, because I still got to go back and finish it and then jump into episode two to even see. I'm probably gonna give them to episode three to say, you know what, nah, but go.
Yeah, so my view on it was this. It's like Kenny said, I thought the way it should have came, or the culmination is, yeah, we should have seen her walking through those bodies and then getting inside the silo, breaking into the silo, and then I'm okay with all the sheet metal work and her trying to figure out how she can move around in there. That shows her ingenuity and her survival skills. And I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't not entertained by it, even though it was just a bunch of sheet metal constantly moving around inside the silo, her trying to figure out how to get to one place to the other place. But I can't say that I didn't enjoy watching it. Like, honestly, it was entertaining. But the conflict for me is what Kenny said, the flashbacks. Like, don't show me what happened in that silo. Keep that as a mystery, because that will make me come back to the next episode. Because you show, like I said, you show me the guy in the room. She tries to open the door, and the guy goes, "Hey, I understand it. I understand." You're like, "Yo, what's behind that door?" I get it. But if you ever try to open this door again, I'll fucking kill you. That, all right, boom. I'm like, all right, at some point, you're going to have to converse with this guy and get an idea of what happened. And two, ask him why he's locked behind that door and how long he's been there. And then you unfoil the story. Or, like I said, you could do it like a video game where she has to go through there and find bits of information, get the power turned back on, start trying to figure things out, get the computers, and start trying to figure out what's up with the silos, what happened in the world. And then my question is, where is, Rashida Jones? They didn't sell her body outside. She walked, and she had to walk for a minute, because when we saw those silos before, we didn't see a silo in that scene that had mad bodies around it. So that means she had been walking for a minute before she came across a silo that had a lot of bodies. And
Mm-hmm.
also, I don't remember them saying in the last silo how long the oxygen would last inside her suit. Do you remember?
No, they didn't say how long it would last inside the suit, but remember the key thing was the tape. Remember when season one there was a whole special about she wanted that special type of tape. So I guess it lasted a little bit longer than normal because she had that special tape that kept everything kind of more tightly sealed. I do remember that takeaway from it, that it was something about the tape.
Because we do know once she gets into that new silo, there's a moment where the air goes out and she has to break her helmet to survive.
Mhm.
So we know that either she's been walking a long time or the oxygen in her suit lasts a long time, which is still weird. And this is why I'll say it's weird. This is where, I mean, you would need a carbon monoxide, a carbon filter inside your suit to filter out the carbon you're breathing out because it can become toxic. So
Mhm.
it's a whole thing right there. It's a lot, and then you also need the energy to keep the oxygenator running. I'm assuming that we're in the future, and somehow
Mhm.
we have oxygenators that are like on the level of Astro near the video game. I, I'll guess that's a possibility, right?
Uh, the some of them parts is there. I want to say that they're kind of like plot holes that if we
Yeah,
dive too deep into it, it wouldn't make too much sense. Because even when that last scene of season one, when you see basically where the other silos are, and it's just basically right over the other edge of the hill when she walks over, because it seemed like they're very close in proximity, which
yeah.
would lead me to believe there possibly might be underground tunnels where you can go from one silo to another. Which I
I,
said that was one of my ideas I had in season one. I'm like, what if the
well, they had a
people?
door down in the bottom, right?
Yeah,
And then they
remember? Yeah,
flooded the bottom of all the silos so you couldn't open that door.
yeah, something like that.
So
So that's the whole thing that I'm like, I just want this season. By the time I'm in episode 3, I want it to be a full on story of the new adventure of either she wants to go back to her silo to tell people, hey, this is what's going on, or the whole crazy thing of if we leave her where she is and while she's planning her return to her original silo, we see the craziness that begins to occur in her original silo.
yeah, I'm all up for it, man.
I
Because you
want
know
I
what?
want it.
Her
Go ahead.
ouster from her silo should cause a ruffle. Like there should
Yes.
be conflict inside her silo because people know that's not on the up and up.
Yeah. And the fact she didn't clean.
Yeah, she didn't clean
That's kind of the key thing. Remember, she dropped the little thing right in front and walked off.
and walked
So I
off.
mean,
So
so it's like it's one part of me, if they're not going to focus on Juliet solidly on her discover, well, see, they already kind of took that away because they're not going to give us the ability to watch her discover what happened in the new silo. That would be part of sticking with her and her story until she
exactly. So
figure
there's
out
no
what happened.
reason to stick with her now. I mean, you can jump in, you know, you can jump back and forth where she's doing in the other silo, but the mystery is gone. We know
Yeah.
there was a conflict.
Hmm.
I don't understand where all those people died outside yet. I'm assuming because the air is toxic. But then when did
Something.
these people die? Like the bodies still look. Okay, what do you think? You've seen dead bodies. I've seen dead bodies, but I haven't seen as many as you've seen. Where you said you pull bodies out of the ocean as a Coast Guard guy. How
Oh,
dead? How long have those people been dead? Would you guess?
if it's on a TV show and I'm looking at how the bodies were, they basically are just like dried out and mummified. So you couldn't really tell. I mean, if you take into account that the clothing was still there, the flag was still there, I would say probably about. And see, we don't know what the air is actually like either. Apparently,
Yeah,
that wind blows, so it can wick moisture away. So that's why the bodies look kind of mummified. I would probably put in what 1 to 2 years, maybe 1 2 years,
yeah,
just
that's
for
what I was thinking
thinking about
too.
them being mummified.
Yeah, I mean, I've come across bodies,
Hmm.
but by being in the Navy, but I never seen them at a state like I've never seen water bodies.
Well, a waterlogged body is completely different.
Yeah, and so I'm not familiar enough because I know in the Coast Guard you guys are taught how to like figure out
recover a
recover
corpse,
them
make sure
and
we
kind
can.
of get a guesstimation of like how long is likely this person's been in this condition
Yeah,
when you
but
arrive.
and that's the biggest difference. Like we're basing this in an arid climate in basically a virtual desert compared to a waterlogged body, which will look completely different, bloated. From if it matters what the temperature is outside, if are they floating? Has the gases already came out of the body? If they're floating face down, face up, the sun has been baking one side of the body. I mean, those are completely different things. But looking at, and I'm just basing this off the show.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at that, I would guess that the clothing is still there and the materials are still there. Fabric hasn't already broken down. The body looks it's not down to the bone, so
It's
that means
not.
the
Yeah,
air and
it's
wind is
still. It
blowing.
looks mummified, which
It's
is another
mummified. That's
interesting
what I take
thing.
away from it. It looks mummified.
It looks
So,
mummified,
and I would say
and
probably like what, maybe no more than 2 years.
I would
I
say that
mean,
should be an outside body. I've seen those begin to break down in the first hours because of the bacteria inside of it. The
hmm
fact that they haven't decomposed like that
hmm
is setting the tone that the bacteria inside the body died almost as quickly as the people died, leading
I
me to
mean,
believe that like it's uninhabitable
yeah, that's what
outside.
I'm thinking. Yeah, because I when they did show the little scene, it was a bunch of bodies, all kind of not spread far apart. But the fact that I didn't notice, like they didn't show any bone, like you know how if the any organic material break down until you get to your actual
You
bones,
get
it
to the
didn't look like the
bones,
bodies
yeah,
were
like you're like a
mummified.
skeleton, pretty
Yeah,
much.
but it doesn't look like the bodies were just withered and dried out. So I mean, you can, I don't know if that's what they're going for. If they put that much detail in what we were watching to say that, oh, I wonder if somebody can pay close enough attention to see how long this probably happened. But I'm just giving a reasonable guess based upon the material that was still there, the way the bodies look. I would say that rebellion probably happened if we're doing regular time. And that's another thing. We don't necessarily really know if it really gets dark there because we don't even know if they're really technically.
Oh, you
Well,
got a
I'm
good
assuming they're
point.
on Earth.
You're
I'm
right.
assuming they
I
are
mean,
on
have we
Earth.
ever seen? We've seen. Well,
We've seen
we've
it
seen
inside the
nighttime.
silo. We've seen inside the silo where they showed the night sky because remember the season one, the person was looking at the constellations
Oh, and it didn't change.
and it didn't change. But I'm saying in outside of the silo, we never actually saw it get dark. We have yet to be aware that it does actually get dark wherever they are at. And this is just assuming that they are still on Earth or something like that. Because they
Oh,
still
you're
have like
right.
etch a sketch and
God damn.
VCRs, but we don't know that.
Oh shit. We always assumed they were on Earth.
Yeah, and that's based upon the things that they did have. They had an etch a sketch, they got the camcorder, watches, and all those things. But we don't know if what if the silos were actually spaceships that got launched from Earth, landed on a different planet, bore down into the terrain, and then that's why they're doing the things that they're doing. We don't know. We just assume they're on Earth.
It's weird because they always say in the Silo show, we don't know when we can go back outside, but it's not this time. Like we know the time is
Yeah,
not now. And
yeah.
we always just they I think they always assume that they're on Earth, but it might not be true.
We don't even know if they assume they're on Earth because I think about it. I don't think I've ever heard them say anything about what planet they're on,
Ooh, you're
Earth
right.
or another.
We just always assumed it was Earth, but they could have been
Yeah,
on a different planet to start with.
yeah.
Like, it could be Mars for all we know.
True, true. I mean, that's my only thought that I had. I'm like, you know what? We've never seen it dark, so if it gets dark, the sun will go down, the moisture in the air would change, the bodies will begin to deteriorate more. And this is only because you asked me this question, so I'm really
Yeah,
kind of
no,
processing it
absolutely.
scientifically. So I'm like, what if the sun doesn't go down? That's why the bodies are mummified, dehydrated, and all that stuff. They're on a different planet. That's why the air is toxic. But yet they were in a silo, aka a spaceship that landed on another planet, bore itself down into the ground, and but everybody just thinks that this is all they know. Because think about it, they even said that everybody that's basically in a silo, this is the only life they've ever known,
Yeah,
other
that's
than
true.
going outside when you say, I want to go outside.
In any writing from the past has been destroyed. Like they call those relics or whatever. They call it
Yeah,
like forbidden relics or whatever. And so therefore anything that has information about a time for which might not even
prior
be
to,
true to them has been destroyed.
yeah, except for that. Remember that the Georgia book, the Georgia adventure book that they
Oh,
found.
you're right. The Georgia Adventure book. I really
But
enjoyed
that
that book.
doesn't mean it was not something that somebody, one of the initial people, packed up in a bag, got onto this rocket ship to leave the planet Earth and went somewhere else. I mean, this is just my crazy ideas I was thinking about because I'm like, I've never seen it dark outside. We've only seen it dark when we were in the silo when the person was looking at the constellations, but the constellations didn't change.
You're
So,
right. You're right. You're right. I think we got 52 minutes. We're gonna go forward here.
all right, what we got?
My what the fuck moment. So every show that we're gonna talk about, I'm gonna have a what the fuck moment, right? And so my
Cool.
what the fuck moment was inside of Dune, not Silo for shockingly. It was in Dune. It was a club scene.
Okay.
Why do we keep doing this? We're talking about a future show outside of the realm of humanity that we are familiar with, why is it that every time there's this opportunity to do something unique, they skip the unique thing and do what humans do, like go to a club? Like I was like, yo, what the fuck is
I
this?
haven't. So give me just a quick. Give me set
All
the
right,
scene for
so
me. I haven't
she's
seen
about to
Dune
get
2 yet.
married, and she's like, "Hey, we
Okay.
should do something fun together one last time with her brother." And the answer was go to a club. Son, I rolled my eyes, and I thought I was the only one. But some of the people who like the books like I do, I went and listened to them, and every single one has started with, "Why the fuck are they going to a club in Dune?" It just took me out of the show. Why do we do this? This is dumb. Kenny, we know the Harkonnen have wild shit they do, right? They do wild shit. Shit that's unimaginable, they do it.
Okay.
For their entertainment, they feed one woman to another woman. I don't know why they do that shit, but that's entertainment for them. Like, you're like, hey, you want to eat? Bring her in. And they feed her to this other woman. Like, it's fucking crazy. So,
Okay.
why, for entertainment, are the Atreides going to a club? That's not what they do for
They
entertainment.
want to get litty. They want to get litty. I don't know.
That was my what the
But
fuck
if
moment.
you
It
think
took me
about it,
out of the show. Stop doing it. Do something imaginative. Do something that I would never imagine. Like I would get the idea that in Wakanda they ain't going to a club. They're elevating their mind to a place that is in the ether. You know, they go to a different place to talk to their for their entertainment or for when they want to get away. They go to this other place so they can communicate with their elders.
well, I was
But
quickly going to
this
say
is
though.
go
I was
ahead.
going to quickly say, in most shows, they always have some type of musical celebration scene. I think Star Wars, where they go to the bar, they got the Star Wars, the band playing with Jabba the Hutt. Even in Wakanda, unfortunately, it was the funeral, but that was still a celebration with music. Maybe this was just like their way of putting some cultural music
But it
version for
wasn't
this
cultural
place.
and it wasn't interesting. It was so American that I
Oh,
was
okay.
like,
Well,
what the fuck is this?
okay. I'm just
Anyway, it
saying.
took me out. We're gonna move on to Google. Now you have something about Google you want to talk about.
Yeah, so this is one of those things that I always find interesting when I hear stuff like this. So the Department of Justice is arguing that Google should sell off its Chrome browser to break up its alleged monopoly on online search. One part of me is like, well, if they came up with this, Alphabet slash Google came up with this, it's a product that everybody use. People use the term "go Google it" as a thing. Is it that wrong that they just created the thing that people use because it's the easiest and the most efficient for people to use? You could go and just use Safari. Nobody says go Safari it or anything, but that's just the
I
browser.
mean, I do
But
use
the whole
Safari, but I use a Google search.
yeah. So what do you think it's wrong or right? And this is just a simple one because I know we're close on time. Do you think it's wrong or right for the Department of Justice to step in and say, "Hey, Google, because you have such an efficient search engine that everybody uses, we feel that you are also..." Oh shit, my actual G thing just popped open. Uh, do you think it should be broken up because they're saying that
I
it
don't.
is
You
crushing
know who should
or
be broken up?
who?
Tesla, X. They should be broken up because Elon Musk should be separated from those institutions. You shouldn't have a person that has that much power. Google,
Okay.
what power does Google have
And that's
other
my
than
thing. It's
search?
like it's just a convenient way for people to use to look up whatever they is. Yes, the company, which they've already broken it up basically, because remember, Google was just Google. Now it's Alphabet and Google.
YouTube, everything's individual. Yeah, I don't understand. I don't agree. I don't
Okay.
agree with breaking up Google or forcing them to like. What's the mindset behind it? You know, I get it.
Basically, they're saying that they should sell Chrome because most devices that you buy, particularly that run on Android, and that's another Google thing, Alphabet thing,
All right, I'll
they
give you
always
one
run
thing though.
what?
All right, Google forced Apple to adopt certain
Yes, and that.
mechanisms into their phone because they felt
Mhm.
like Apple had a monopoly. So it's only fair for that to cross over. You know what is interesting? There was a video. It was a Pixel video, Google Pixel phone,
Yeah.
and the Apple iPhone's talking to the Google Pixel phone and saying that I should be able to have the AI that you have in your phone and have it work on my phone. And they're like, why? And they're like, well, because then I would be able to have the same access to information that you have. And they're like, oh, I don't think so. And then she flies away. But isn't that what Google did to Apple? Google said that Apple had a monopoly on SMS. And they were like, yeah, but so what? Ours is better than yours. And then they got the European Union to force them to share it with Google. So it should go both ways.
You talking about the SMS stuff? Well, most everywhere in the world, the SMS stuff work on everything else. Apple did.
Yeah,
Apple
but
Messages.
people only liked, if you had an Apple iPhone, and most companies only liked Apple system. They had access to Google. They didn't like it. They liked the Apple system. And it's because the Apple system was better than the Google system, than the standard system. Apple had made a better system. And people wanted to use it. So Google wanted that on their phones because whenever they went to these companies and said, hey, you should buy our phones, and they go, well, no, because Apple has a better messaging system that works way better than yours. Why would we use it? So then Apple went to the European Union and said Apple had a monopoly because no one wanted to adopt their system because their system was better. And so we should have access to their system. So I get it.
It's the same thing with the power port with the USB-C shit too. I mean,
yeah.
My thing is,
you could, on that point, you could argue that actually the standard size system of the USB-C was better than Lightning. But before the USB-C existed, Lightning was better than what the old system was, which was that little weird plug that you plugged into your phone. So Apple had adopted that because it was a better system, and then the standard system became better, and then Apple just did not adopt it because they had already been using their Lightning system. So it wasn't like Apple was trying to take advantage. You got to remember what existed before the USB-C. Lightning was better. And maybe at some future point, we'll start getting Apple iPhones that have the Dragon, system on it. And so then that would be better than the USB-C. So people will be like, whoa, why would I use something that's less? We don't know, but it's a possibility. You see?
All right. So all in all, do you think that the Google should be broken up in?
I've talked myself into it based on a selfish position that as an Apple user.
Okay.
But honestly, if you're asking me objectively, it don't make sense to me because there are other search engines out there. To make the argument that Google has a monopoly because it's the best, that'd be like saying, well, then Lamborghini should be forced to sell their cars for less because maybe they have a better gear shift in it. I don't know. I don't have a Lamborghini, but you can make that argument. And if your argument is, well, because they have a patent, on this piece of technology that would make it safer for other people in other cars, they shouldn't have a monopoly on that. And it shouldn't only exist in cars that cost $400,000, $500,000, $1 million. You can make that argument. I'm sure somebody could make that argument, but then we'll just be going down a slippery ass slope where every single person can make an argument to take away someone else's ingenuity and genius. I don't know.
That's my little problem with that.
And is Google really better? It's not. It's shown itself to be less effective now. It's shown itself to be more useless than it ever has been. So we're now at the point where Google is the most useless for searches, arguing that it's a monopoly. I don't know. That shit don't work.
I don't know if it's the most useful searches because I use Google all the time. Be
I
honest
know
with
it is the one that people are used to. It is not the most effective search tool anymore. And therein lies the conflict. If you want to make an argument that somehow it's a monopoly, it's only a monopoly because people use it. But if
Yeah.
people were aware of the other search engines that which are better, then you wouldn't be having this conversation.
All right. All right. For the sake of time, get anything else? Closing statements?
No, with that said, people, thanks for coming through and hanging out with us. We appreciate your time. We got it in over 3 minutes again. But with that said, you can take us out, Kenny.
Yeah, shout out to everybody that came through and watched and stopped by. Shout out to people on Kick, people on Twitch, people on YouTube, also people on Facebook. As usual, our headquarters is on YouTube, so come on over here, give us a follow, leave a comment, give us an idea of what you think about the show, what you think about the topics we brought up, or if you have any topics you want us to discuss, leave it in the comments below. But thank you, appreciate it. I'm Kenny with Dianoia,
and this is Darrell. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.